We are moments away from the upcoming Nvidia announcement. Everybody should be excited for it. By the time this video goes live, there is 4 hours until Nvidia details what the next-gen graphics cards are going to be, and this video is here to serve of what we can expect at the announcement in just a few hours. We're going to detail all of the rumors, all of the official information, all of the leaks that have come out over the last weekend, and tell you what we're expecting from Nvidia here. But before we do, this video is brought to you by BetterHelp.com/UFD. If you need affordable professional licensed therapist anywhere in the world that fits your schedule when you want to do it in a convenient time frame, check out BetterHelp.com. They can again provide you with a licensed therapist from $35 to $65 per week, or there is a sponsorship available to maybe knock that down even more. This is not a crisis helpline, but if you need any sort of counseling, whether it be for an ongoing issue or something that you want to talk to them fresh about, or just developing your mental health, check out BetterHelp.com/UFD. Guys, it would mean a lot if you would check them out. It supports the channel, it keeps things going. Definitely like them as a sponsor, so check out the link. Go ahead and sign up if you need counseling. Now let's jump into the Nvidia news. Last week on Monday, they had an event at SIGGRAPH where they launched their Quadro cards based on the Turing architecture. That is the architecture that we're going to be getting for the upcoming RTX 2080 series. We know that it's the RTX 20 series because of a teaser that Nvidia posted right after the SIGGRAPH launch on Twitter, on their YouTube channel. It all can be decoded to show that this is indeed the RTX series. So it's going to be based on the Turing architecture, which is 12 nanometers, which is different from Pascal in that it has a few extra bits and bobs to it, such as tensor cores and ray tracing cores, which haven't been implemented on GPUs before. Nvidia showed this off with their Quadro, showing that it has AI performance with the tensor cores, but then it also has giga-rays based on the ray tracing cores, which we are likely expecting on the upcoming cards. Now let's discuss why are they changing the name from GTX to RTX. RTX is the name of their ray tracing technology. That is what they're pushing here. The RTX line of cards will, on a hardware level, support ray tracing in a way that hasn't been done before on other cards. Ray tracing will still be available on GTX level cards because it's going to be a game setting. However, there won't be the hardware implementation for it. We can think of it kind of like CUDA cores. CUDA cores requires software implementation to actually process things. Can you process CUDA level things with cards that don't have CUDA cores? Yes, you have to use a different method. CUDA-like acceleration exists for cards that don't have CUDA cores. So that's kind of the same thing that we're expecting here with ray tracing. There will be a hardware level support with ray tracing, and then there will be cards that can do ray tracing but cannot do it very well because they don't have the RT cores in order to actually support it. And from the rumors that are already out there for RTX, we're expecting RTX to only be on the high-end cards. So the RTX 2080 Ti, RTX 2080, and RTX 2070 will be the RTX level cards. GTX will still likely exist on the 2060, 2050 Ti, and 2050, the lower end SKUs. So it doesn't appear like Nvidia is doing away with the GTX naming scheme altogether. They're just segmenting it down to lower end cards. And this is both a marketing pitch because they want to show that there is a fundamental difference between the cards that have ray tracing and those that don't, but it's also an actual difference between the cards. They're naming them something different so that people will recognize your GTX 2060 will be deficient in ray tracing because it doesn't have the ray tracing cores. So ray tracing is what we're expecting, Turing architecture 12 nanometers. But let's talk about ray tracing games. There's nothing out on the market that is ray tracing inside of games. First, let's kind of go through what ray tracing is. I'm going to give you the briefest layman's explanation that I can. Right now, I'm being illuminated by lights. That's a bajillion photons hitting my face. Ray tracing is the attempt by computers to simulate the photons hitting the face and bouncing off and reflecting properly. The way it's done now is not at all simulating individual light beams, which is what ray tracing will likely do. However, with the tensor cores and the AI processing that is going to happen with these new cards, they're doing it in a way that can fake it almost so that you can have real-time ray tracing and bring it into video games with ease. The games that have been confirmed to already have it's just one. It's Metro Exodus, which is not launching till next year. However, one of the reasons we believe that Nvidia is launching these new cards at Gamescom is because they're partnering with game manufacturers manufacturers to actually release games with ray tracing in very soon. We're expecting major game developers to get on board with ray tracing and implement it in games coming out even this year. Nvidia has done a great job on keeping everything tight-lipped about the new cards. We didn't even know what they were named until 10 days ago. So the fact that we haven't heard anything from games manufacturers on ray tracing is kind of par for the course with how tight-lipped Nvidia's been about all of this. Games that I would expect to have ray tracing are the likes of Shadow of the Tomb Raider and definitely Battlefield 5, since that's in a confirmed Nvidia title. Is ray tracing going to be the future? It definitely seems like it. This is going to be different than Nvidia GameWorks on the fact that it's supported on a hardware level with the upcoming cards. It is no longer just going to be something that you enable in software. It's both going to be software and hardware implementation with how Nvidia is bringing it to the table. AMD could have something up their sleeves for Navi, but we don't have any information on whether or not AMD is gonna bake ray tracing support in at the hardware level. So we'll just have to wait to see what their response is. Now let's talk about what we're expecting Nvidia to specifically launch as far as names of cards and all of that today in a few hours. So based on all of the leaks and rumors, and again, this could change by the time the announcement comes out, we're expecting the RTX 2080 Ti and RTX 2080 to be announced and go on sale today. We don't know if it's going to be just on the Nvidia store or if it's also going to be the AIB partners, but I'll get to that in a little bit. So the 2080 and the 2080 Ti on sale today. That's what we're expecting. The 2070 will be announced today, but go on sale sometime in September. The GTX 2060, 2050, and the lower end cards will be further down the line and likely won't even be discussed today, is the expectation. So if you're holding off for a 2060, you're likely going to have to wait just a bit longer. Now, one of the questions that we've been receiving all over the place is why would Nvidia be launching the 2080 Ti with the 2080? This is unprecedented. They've waited 2 years to launch the cards and now they're launching the Ti and the 80 together. That doesn't make sense. The best explanation that I've been able to think of, and we can obviously have a conversation surrounding this, is the fact that 7nm graphics cards are on their way next year. AMD is expected to launch Navi on 7nm early next year. They're already sampling Vega 7nm on the professional side of things. So Nvidia is seeing the upcoming technology shift. Since Turing is on 12nm, they're seeing 7nm will likely launch next year. So instead of launching the 80 now and the 80 Ti sometime next year, they're getting it all done right now so that they can still get sales on the 80 Ti and then launch brand new cards next year on the 7nm process and not have to fulfill the 80 Ti obligation next year. They can do it now and take all of those sales, so they don't have to wait. Again, that's the best generic explanation I can come up with. 7nm coming next year. That's why we're getting the 80 Ti at launch here. Now, we also have leaked specs as far as what we're expecting the CUDA cores and the clock speeds to be. If we look at the 2080 Ti, we're expecting 4,352 CUDA cores. With the 2080, we're expecting 2,944 CUDA cores, and with the 2070, we're expecting 2,304 CUDA cores. And as far as base level performance, we're expecting between 30 to 50% increase over the current gen cards class for class. So the 2080 Ti will be 30 to 50% better than the 1080 Ti. The 2080, 30 to 50% better than the 1080, which would put it on higher above the 1080 Ti. So the 2080 should beat the 1080 Ti. By how much has yet to be seen. One of the other arguments I've heard about the 2080 Ti is that the 2080 can't beat the 1080 Ti, so they're launching the 2080 in order to have something that can replace it. We'll have to see. Now, for all of that, the pricing that we're expecting on these cards is a bit more. The 2080 Ti, we're expecting to come in at around the $800 to $900 range. The 2080, we're expecting between $650 and $750, which is not technically a price hike. If you look at the 10 series, the 1080 Founders Edition launched for $699. The AIB partners were lower, but they just raised their price to match the Founders Edition. So $699 for the 80 class is not that's not a price hike. That's what we're paying. Nvidia actually gave us a price cut on the 80 class, and then they launched the 1080 Ti at the 80 class pricing. So that was good of them, I suppose. But the 2080 Ti will likely be around $800, if not a bit more. The 2070, we're expecting about $400, 2060 around the $300 mark, and then the 2050 about $150. Again, a lot of this is speculation. We won't know until the announcement. This is what we're expecting. And then as far as whether or not we're gonna get mobile implementation, so like the 2080 in a laptop, I would expect that sometime later this year, November or even early next year. There's no good leaks on that right now. There's no good information on that, so we just wait for the mobile down the line. We'll keep you updated in future videos for that. And now let's go ahead and show you the creme de la creme. We've gotten leaked pictures. This is all from Video Cards. They've done a great job of actually getting images out of box arts, new card designs of everything that should be launched. And one of the reasons why we're expecting AIB partner cards to launch today alongside the Founders Edition is because there's been a plethora of leaks as far as how new cards will look. So you can see the likes of the hideous EVGA card, the ugly palette cards, the new Asus Strix cards, the new MSI Gaming X Trios, which are the best improved of the bunch. I really love that backplate. And then the likes of Gigabyte have also launched, as well as the P and Y cards. And then the creme de la creme, which is something that people were asking about over the weekend, but finally we got released. What will the Founders Edition card look like? Here you go. This is from Video Cards. This is their leak. This looks like an official Nvidia class render. What they do say is that don't worry, the naming won't be upside down when you install on the card. This is only for promotional images. But there you go, a dual fan Founders Edition reference style cooler from the likes of Nvidia for the 2080 Ti, likely also for the 2080. So that is all of the basic information that we have, what we're expecting today. So you can go into today's live stream informed. We will be live streaming the Nvidia announcement here on the UFD Tech channel, so stay tuned for that. You have about 4 hours or less, depending on when you're watching this video, to get prepared and get here to watch that with us, because we want to do it with you. Don't forget that all of our Nvidia GTX RTX 20 series coverage is brought to you by betterhelp.com/UFD. For licensed, trained, professional, affordable counseling, check out betterhelp.com. The link for that will be in the video description. I'm going to wrap it up. We need to get ready for the stream tonight. Guys, hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Please get subscribed to stay up to date on all of our tech-related content, including new graphics cards, because they're finally coming out. I'm gonna wrap it up there. I'm Brett with the UFD Tech channel. I'll see your smiling faces again in the next video. Love you too.